JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay guys, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Quick apology for the late start a little bit here. Having a few issues with technology this morning, but hopefully everything's getting sorted now. So, right. As I said, good morning to everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic start on Friday. Here, so as always guys, we'll have a look at the technicals, the few instruments that we looked at this week, just to see how everything's kind of getting along. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course, our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, jumping into the charts, the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. Just to see where we have ended the week, and yes, it has ended in the red today, so or in general this week. So but of course, if we take a look at the weekly chart here, we can see that although it ended the week in the red, still it remained above this 21-day EMA here on the weekly chart, so this could still be seen as a positive. However, as you can see, we are struggling with that downside resistance line taken from the high of the 16th of February. So of course, this is something for next week to watch out for. So if we clear this downside line and then we pop somewhere above this barrier, the 29,519 zone, then yes, higher levels could be met, guys. For the downside, we need to see that drop below the 28,565, 66 territory right here in order to consider lower areas. So let's keep an eye on this. Of course, like I said, the index is already closed, but let's try to prepare for next week. Now, Shanghai Composite. Now, this one is declining heavily, as you can see, and we fell below that 21-day EMA, below the 3,562 territory, and also we fell below that 3,550 territory that I kept talking about. And I said to you this week that if we drop below that one, then this, and stay below that one, then this, of course, increases the chances for a further move south towards the 100-day EMA here, shown as the green line, and to this 3,503 territory right here, marked by the lowest point of June here. And then, of course, if that gets clear, then this could lead to a larger correction to the downside towards this upside support line taken from the low of the 9th of March. Now, jumping into German index DAX, and yesterday it was a bit of a roller coaster ride here. We saw some up and down movements, and it reversed here back up. Initially, it was breaking this upside line taken from the low, the 26th of February, but then it reversed back up. And so far, I will say that we'll have to just kind of be careful here, as always, guys. I mean, I'm probably repeating myself all the time here, but in order to be careful. But just to, like I said, here when we have something like this, then it's a really, it seems that the market is undecided. On one hand, we do have an all-time high near the 15,802 zone here, which is the highest point of June also, and we are not far from there. So in a way, it wouldn't take a long, well, let's say a long way for the bulls to overcome that. However, as you can see, that the bears are really trying to keep the bulls maintained here below that hurdle. So that's where the little kind of issue comes in. So we have been, let's say, kind of drifting sideways here from around the 20th of June, something like that. And yeah, so at the moment, guys, I mean, we are above this upside line, so that's still a positive. However, we're stuck below the even the current highest point of this week, because and that's around the 15,753 territory, and slightly above that we do have that all-time high. So basically, there are a lot of temptation here for a move towards these levels to test them out. But will we actually get that? Will we not instead get the break of this upside line? So that's why in these situations, I would say if you want to aim for the upside, at least wait for a push above the current highest point of this week near the 15,753 territory. If we clear that, then of course the next target is the all-time high. But if we clear that as well, then well, welcome to uncharted territory again, guys. For the downside, we need to see a break of this upside line here taken from the low, the 26th of February. And if we also get a drop somewhere below this 15,456 zone, where, as you can see, the index found support, then yes, we could maybe consider a bit of a further move south. S&P 500, so the one that well, took the spotlight yesterday, and energy stocks also helped S&P 500 move north, and well, we've created a new all-time high here, and we've managed to overcome this barrier, the 4,300 zone, and what we have reached. And we have reached this level, the 4,320, yeah, 4,320, roughly around there. You can see that in a way it was a fantastic rally here. Looking at the cash index, we'll see that the price did move a little bit further above this. We're currently actually sitting just fractionally below this level, below this 4,320, and we're actually sitting currently near yesterday's close. So that's going to be quite an interesting one to watch today. If we can actually see a further move north, I mean, it is an eventful day today. The spotlight probably will fall on the US NFPs. So yep, keep your eyes on those, guys. And in regards to the NFPs, now let me just quickly check out the economic calendar. So first of all, the unemployment rate is expected to decline by 0.1%. Let's see how that's going to play out. And NFPs are believed to have risen from the previous 559K to 700K. However, if you remember, for the past 2 months, last time and before last time, when I talked about the NFPs on the day, what I said to you that it seems that every time we had kind of the expectation was always for a bigger number, but actually the actual number did come out as a disappointment. It came out much lower. For example, the April figure it was expected to come out at a staggering 978K, but it came out at 266K. The May figure came out at the expectation was for 650K. The actual number came out at 559. So now, the previous number is at the 559K. The forecast is again for a higher number, for 700K, but will it come out more than that? I mean, if it comes out more, than the forecast. Now this is where the tricky bit might be, that if it comes out more than the forecast, this of course could be seen as a positive. We could see that nice initial positive reaction in the market, in the equities. However, then the reality would kick in, and investors might see that as a bit of a negative, because this could put the Fed closer to hiking rates, and if we see a hike in rates, well, that's worse for the equities basically, because, well, of course, then the borrowing costs becomes larger in the future. So that's why the riskier assets such as equities could become less attractive. So, and which means that there could be a possibility to see maybe a bit of a decline. So again, even if it comes out better than the forecasts, like I said, it might not even be seen as that of a huge positivity actually, because if you look at it from the other way, I mean, for the past 2 months, we have been getting the NFP, which was below the forecast, and the market continued to rally. So now, I mean, the opposite could happen, and keep that in mind. Again, I'm not saying that this is for sure what's going to happen. I'm just saying that this is the theory. Again, we always have to look at the theory, and then that's the reason why I always say wait for the news to come out and then see the reaction. But keep that idea in your mind. Now, jumping into DXY, the dollar index. So, yep, beautiful move, beautiful continuation north, and yes, that's great. I would say still aiming for that downside resistance line taken from the high of the, where's that high? Taken from the high of the 25th of September. And yeah, so far, like I said, I'm not going to really drag anything further north, but I'm just going to aim for this area, and then we'll take it from there, guys. Silver. Silver continues to trade below this downside line here. So far, I mean, that downside line is doing its job, although yesterday we saw a bit of an overshoot here, but nevertheless, it quickly came back down here and remained below this downside line. So, although it seems a little bit more on the negative side, if you want to get comfortable with the downside, wait for a drop below this 25.71 territory right here, and then yes, lower levels could be met, guys. But until it's going to be stuck in here, I'm going to take a neutral stand. The US oil, WTI oil, and yep, there we go. Beautiful reversal to the upside. Yesterday, the oil took a nice jump here because basically we had a delay in the OPEC, or not delay, but they had an OPEC Plus meeting yesterday, but they had decided to postpone it until today as well. I mean, they couldn't agree on the cuts, and the increases, I mean, the barrels per day. So let's see how that's going to play out today. I mean, if they eventually will agree on the proposal of some countries to increase production due to increased global demand, then we might see oil reversing back down here maybe a little bit, and drifting lower. However, if the cuts, or should I say the production cut, or the production increase is not going to be as significant, then we might see the price continuing to rise. And but again, it's in moments like this, guys, I mean, especially if it's Friday, then well, be very careful, because we might get a bit of a crazy day here in oil. Ripple, very quickly on Ripple, so the downside line continues to provide resistance. This one's drawn from the high of the 20th of May of 2021, and for now, I mean, we can see that we are trading below this downside line, but we're still below the upside one here, taken from the low the 29th of December 2020. So for now, I'm just taking a neutral stand here and just watching this one, and in a way, I'm waiting for a breakthrough one of those levels before we could consider maybe the next short-term directional move. And one of those levels is, for the downside, is the 0.5819 territory right here, marked by the low of the 26th of June, and for the upside, the current highest point of this week, near the 0.7339, and yes, higher levels could be met. USD, so drifted to the downside. Of course, the dollar index, the dollar was the strongest currency yesterday, and we saw a basket of other currencies, the major counterparts, kind of declining against the US dollar. And here you can see. I spoke about this pair yesterday, and I said that in order to go for the downside, we need to see a drop, and a good drop below this 0.7462 territory, approximately around here, and then yes, actually 0.7477 territory, yes, and then lower levels could be met, but we do have this other little obstacle on the way, the low of the 21st of December of 2020, and yep, that's roughly around the 0.7462. If we clear that one as well, then further declines are possible. USD JPY, so came very close to that 111.72 territory. I spoke about this, and I mentioned that this week, guys. So that's my target, and to be honest, I'm going to take that as a good result, because we fell shy just by a few points from reaching that, but yeah, I think that's kind of it. We managed to reach that area. So now my big question here is, can we actually see a further move north, or will we have something like this where we'll have a bit of a decline, maybe a test of this 110 point or the 111 zone, and then if it provides good support, then a rebound might be possible. But again, like I said, the pair might not move until the NFP release, so don't try to kind of let's say over trade it or to predict it too much. I mean, again, it might be a bit of a reaction up and down, and that's why try to be on the safe side unless you have a huge stop loss, guys. I mean, if you can afford to lose a lot of money, then yeah, feel free. But at the moment, I would say rather wait for the news to come out, and then we can take a position there. GBP USD, so also drifted nicely to the downside. I spoke about this 1.38 territory, and yep, we've cleared that. So now the big question here is, can we see a further move south? So for now, I would say I'm going to keep an eye on this upside support line taken from the low, the 18th of May of 2020. We're approaching that one, and we're also approaching that 200-day EMA, which kind of coincides with this 1.3670 zone marked by the lowest point of April, if I'm not mistaken. There, yep, there we go. So, or actually, let me just see if this is the case. No, do apologize. So the 1.36, yes, 1.3670. Yes, that's the lowest point of April, and yep, it coincides with the 200-day EMA. So let's see if we can reach that. I would say that as long as this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 16th of June continues to stay bearish, bearish, continues to provide a hold up, there we go, then we could remain bearish for the time being, and we could aim for slightly lower levels here up until this upside line, and then we'll take it from there. Euro against the South African Rand, guys. I mean, this is what I looked at one point this week, and I told you to keep an eye on this highlighted territory right here. So we were actually trading then somewhere around here, and I said that if we clear this one, then yes, higher levels could be met. But you can see that we had a bit of a drift lower. We tested this upside line again, and yeah, we had a nice, beautiful rebound. And now we broke the barrier here, the 17.1057 area. And now the big question here is, can we see a further move north? Well, to be honest, for now I'm gonna aim higher, but I'm gonna only aim for this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 11th of January, or in other words, the highest point of this year, the current highest point of this year. So at the moment, like I said, I'm going to aim for this downside line. Then we'll take it from there. If we clear that one, then higher levels could be met. But again, it's a pretty straightforward here situation. If the pair continues to trade above this highlighted territory, yes, I'll aim for the downside line. But if it suddenly starts falling back below it, below this highlighted territory, then I'll take a neutral stand. But for me to consider maybe the downside, now this is where I need to adjust a few levels here. For me to consider the downside, probably I would prefer to maybe wait for a drop below the 16.8787 territory here, marked by the I think that's the low. Yep. Sorry, no, that's the low of Wednesday and Thursday, and at the same time, if we get a drop below that hurdle, then yes, we could see a drop below the 21-day EMA, and potentially more sellers could join in. Euro GBP. So finally we have broken the downside line, and everything would be great apart from the fact that we're still struggling with this barrier. So although we broke the downside line, so that's great, good news. Now the big question here is, can we move further north? I mean, don't forget that this is the Euro GBP that we're dealing, and to be honest, it sometimes doesn't really move as according to all the TA rules, so it's more of a kind of reactive pair here, but at the moment, I would say, if we do apply technical analysis on this pair, if we break the 0.8613 territory right here, then yes, we could aim for the upside. We could get a little bit more comfortable with higher levels, and we would take it from there. My arrow here ends somewhere near the highest point of April. Roughly around the 0.8719. But if we start falling back below this downside line and fall back below the 21-day EMA, well, then of course, in a way, this could open the door towards lower levels. But first of all, of course, we'll keep an eye on the current lowest point of this week near the 0.8564. A break below that, yes, could open the door towards the downside. Euro USD. So beautiful move here, lower, and this is what I talked about yesterday and basically from the beginning of this week. So we had that drop, and we had a drop below this 1.1847, which is okay, great. I mean, now this increases the chances for a further move south. However, as I mentioned before with other instruments, well, wait for the NFPs today, because that might change a bit of the plans here. So for now, at this point in time, yes, I'm aiming lower, and I'm aiming for the 1.1794 level that marks the inside swing high of the 29th of March and the low of the 6th of April. We might see a hold up here, but if something happens, if suddenly let's say the dollar starts weakening very quickly, then, well, we could see a nice reversal, maybe even a move towards the 200-day EMA here back. But again, at the moment, I would say be cautious, be careful, and wait for the figures to come out first. So guys, that's it for this session. I hope you found it useful. I really appreciate your likes, guys. Thank you very much. I really in your views as well, so I do appreciate that. So thank you very much. I hope you'll have a fantastic trading day. The most important, stay safe and have your stop loss in place. But again, try to not overtrade today. It's Friday, guys, and you know the frustration sometimes when you trade on Friday. The whole week was going well, but then on Friday you overtrade, and then you end up the week not in a very nice way. So let's avoid that. And if you see if it's not going your way, just leave it. I mean, enjoy your profits that you've made during the week, and just kind of leave it for next week and come back on Monday fresh. It's good. It's going to be a new week, a new trading week. So try to be, like I said, try to be careful, and I'll see you on Monday at my Traders Espresso, 6 o'clock GMT time. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.